This year for the 2024 Total Archery Challenge, I'm going to be using my skills with the So a little different today. Got a cup of coffee here going with making the video. I thought it'd be kind of cool just to share some thoughts on stuff. Anybody ever tried this coffee, Dirty Duck Coffee? I get nothing. I don't get paid for them. I don't not have any sponsorship with them or anything. I just think they're a really good coffee company, and I'm kind of a coffee snob. Kind of got a pecan, praline, and coconut flavor mixed in with the blend, so you don't have to add any cream or anything if you're a creamer person. If you've heard of them, let me know what you think in the comments. If you've tried this, let me know what you think. If you haven't tried this and you got another one that you think I should try, put it in the comments, because I'm interested in you know, good coffees, and this one's pretty high on my list. I got some others that I'm going to talk about too at some point along the way, but give me some more that I should probably order to try out. Again, I get nothing for that. I just think they're a good company. They make a good product. Check them out. All right, so today, we're about 2.5 weeks away from Total Archery Challenge, and I got a couple things that I've got to get figured out. I bought this Lift 33 to shoot 3D with and as a backup hunting bow. I believed it was stable enough and forgiving enough that you could shoot target with it and you could shoot it, you know, obviously to hunt with. And so far it's been awesome in 3D. Now I'm shooting Hunter 45. I'm not shooting like known 50 or known Pro or anything. And it's done great for that. It's the best target bow, you know, quotations, that I've probably ever had. And I've had all the TRXs and PSE Supras and stuff. And this is a really good one. It's almost so good that I kind of want to take it to tack, because I think it would help me at a tack, because it's so stable. And shooting those 70 and 80 yard shots, it's really good for that. It's a little heavier than the PSE Levitate, and it's set up for shooting VTAC 23s, and I'm not taking VTAC 23s to tack. And I've got it turned down so that it's legal in ASA. I'm shooting right at like 292 feet per second, and I think 290, 145 is my speed limit. So I really don't want to have to redo this for my tack arrows, which are Victory XVs. These are 350 spines. They are super fast. So like 312 grains. They're shooting. I've already chronoed my PSE Levitate here, and they're shooting like 323 out of that at 65 pounds. My Levitate's at 65 pounds. Shooting 323. Super fast. Great arrows. They're pretty weak as far as if you hit something, they're probably going to break. I don't know that I want to hunt with them just yet. If I was going to hunt with them, I obviously would add some weight to the tip, but they're going to be great for tack, and I'm shooting like 3 or 4 tack style events this year. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up for tack as well, shooting those arrows, and get a quick setup sight tape on it, and then kind of see. It's kind of going to see which one I want to shoot. Again, the Levitate, specifically set up for tack. It's got the dialed Arcsos on here, which gives me a little bit more distance. I've been shooting it. I've got bars on it. Last year I took it without bars, and it was windy as crap in Oklahoma. So I've got adding weight to it, and it's done great, but it is not as steady at holding as the Mathews. So I'm gonna get them both set up, shoot them both, measure my groups, and then we're gonna make a decision based off that. So that's kind of the plan. I've already got a sight tape on this. It's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty good for those arrows. I've got a sight tape. This one's ready to go. It's shooting bullet holes. I might shoot through paper just a little bit while I got it set up, just to make sure that it's still set up and 100% shooting bullet holes. Lift, however, is not set up for that. So I've got to get it shooting bullet holes with these Victory XVs. I've got to get it chrono speed, and I got to get the measurements of my pin to my peep and my peep to my arrow, so I can put it in precision cut archery and print a sight tape. Once I print that sight tape, we're going to actually go out and shoot, you know, 30, 40, 60, 70, whatever, and measure our groups, see which one's shooting the best at distance and which one's shooting the best for these arrows. And then that one, whichever one shoots the best, is the one I'm taking to tack. So you know, I'm assuming this one will do really good. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. But that's kind of the challenge that's being thrown down. All right, so step one, we're gonna get the lift here on the vise, get our arrow level. We're gonna have to adjust the hamski, get it shooting a bullet hole, and then get a chrono speed on it. This is just a good starting point. We'll have to tweak this when we shoot through paper, but So these are the last two. Pretty good bullet holes. I mean, they're about as good as I'm gonna get. And you can see we kind of started how it started. Tip high, knock low, work our way down, and these two are pretty dang good. So now we're gonna get a chrono speed. All right, so we've got our sight tape printed. This is just a quick setup start. It's not like a super accurate sight tape. It's the same as what's on the Levitate, kind of just a quick, here's some measurements, here's the speed, here's the arrow weight, print sight tape. So this is not gonna be 100% accurate, but it's a good starting point. Before we put that on though, we're gonna go find like probably a 40 or 50 yard mark, and then we'll line our tape up with that 40 or 50 yard mark, and that'll be a little more accurate at distance. And then we'll shoot both of them, figure out which one's grouping better at 40, 50, 70, 100 yards, and that'll be the one we take to Total Archery Challenge. Hadn't already checked out bowcrew.com. Use that banner right there. Use Triple R Woods 20 at checkout. They got a lot of cool hats and shirts and banners, stuff that archery guys like us really enjoy using. It saves you 20%, helps the channel out. Do that, check them out. Alright, so 50 yards, trying to find the mark on this tape that's 50 yards. I believe these were the first two, then I shot. These two, had one that I shanked to the left because I punched it. And as I'm doing this, every time I'm moving my dial a little bit more. And this was my last one, so it was a good clean break, and it hit, and it's worked its way down like I wanted it to. So I think this one's, if not perfect, it's really close. So we're going to use this mark, which actually is like 46 and a half on my old tape. It's going to be 50 on this new tape. So I'm going to line up my 50 mark with the indicator on this sight, and then let's test it out. Pull this tape off. I'm going to mark this tape as my tournament tape from the speed of my bow. It seems to work good. This is the new sight tape. We'll line up our 50. Now that we got that mark, we got our tape on this a little bit, we can actually just roll the dial and tape this last part down. So we've got our sight tape now all the way to actually 14 yards and then to 120. Alright, so we're back for day two. We're going to actually shoot and test today. We've got the lift and the Levitate. We're going to shoot, so it's really windy today, so we're going to do this a little different. I'm going to shoot at about 13 yards at a Vegas scoring ring. We're going to kind of see which one scores the best after about 2 or 3 rounds back and forth. Kind of give us a good idea which one's holding the best and maybe the most forgiving on more of those surprise shots using the hinge. And then we're going to stretch it out to like 50, and we're going to see which one groups the best at longer range. We've got some real wind today, so we're going to try to stay inside the shop here and shoot out across the yard area at a target and group them that way. It's really windy, but we got to get this done, get this sight tape installed, and start testing it because we only got a couple weeks. This is a 27, 10, 10, 9, so we're 29. Levitate up by 2 at the moment. Alright, lift coming out strong. I'm gonna call that 10, 10, 10, 9 for the lift. Levitate still shooting strong. Looks like X99 on that. Last round, Levitate up just by a couple shots at the moment, a couple points at the moment. All right, last round with the lift. First shot was bad. Next two were 10, so 29 for the final round of the lift. So the last round of Levitate, 11, 9, 10, so solid round for the Levitate. So just looking at this, after 3 rounds, the final round, the lift had 85, the Levitate had 88, so just a couple more points coming for the Levitate. Realistic comes into that very first round. Just that very first round was so subpar, and was that a bad shot, a punch? I don't know, but it really, I never could catch up, and the Levitate just shot great and consistent. So round 1 goes to the Levitate. All right, so I know the lighting's bad, but this is the format. I'm inside my shop, so the wind's not blowing my bow. That target is 50 yards out there. It's actually between a trailer and a brush pile, so I've got a little narrow window to shoot through. I actually shot once with each bow already just to make sure that my 50-yard mark is on, and they're relatively close. But what we're going to do is shoot 4 arrows with each bow. We're going to pull the farthest from the center because it could be a bad shot. You know, I could have punched the trigger, and that's not really on the bow. So the bad one, pulling the bad one takes the human error out a little bit, and then we will we'll do actually the circumference of the group, and we'll write that down. So for each one, so we're going to start off with the lift. So the first group with the lift, not super impressive. We got this weird flyer here. You know, that I could live with a little bit. The other ones, not super impressed with. So I'm going to pull this one because it's the farthest one, and I think that one I just hammered it, which made it hit left. So we'll pull that one out. We'll get the circumference of these. 13 inches. All right, first group at 50 with the Levitate and the new dialed Arxo sight. Oh my gosh. It's not the best group. I thought it was better looking at these knocks. Looking at just these knocks down here, I thought, man, that group's insane, but it's a little more spread out down here. But if you pull this one in the blue, that's still a pretty good group for no lens, 50 yards with a hunting bow. So let's get a circumference of that group. 8 inches. All right, so round 2, going back to the lift. It's behind big time at the moment, so it's going to need a miraculous comeback, a real Rudy story. The lift is not going down without a fight. That's a good group. I mean, compared to the one before, that's a much better group. I mean, I guess the farthest from the group is this one. If you're just doing group, like what's your best group? Because I mean, the left, right, up, down, all that, I can tweak that once I pick the bow I'm going to use for sure. This one's got to be the odd man out. The other 3 are pretty consistently right here. That's going to be a good group. 2.5 inches. Alright, so the Levitate had a flyer. Still a respectable group. Of course, you got this one flyer up here that we'll knock out. These 2 are nearly touching, and that one's just on the other side of the yellow. That's a pretty good consistent group. We'll pull this one out and get our circumference. All right, Levitate with a 9-inch group. All right, third and final round. The lift is up. It helped its comeback, but got a little more to do here in this final round. Gosh, when you settle in on that lift and just relax and shoot and not be rushed, that's hard to beat. That is a heck of a shooting bow. Golly. So you look here, there are 2 X's, 50 yards, micro diameter arrow, no lens. Got 2 X's and an 8 right here. So I'm gonna pull this one, which is also an 8, and I'm gonna get the circumference of those. All right, lift 4.5. The lift has come back with a vengeance. Let's see if the Levitate can stack one in there. Final round. The Levitate has been consistent. It's been super consistent. It needs to make some ground up on the lift here though. Man, yeah, this is gonna be tough. That's crazy for that real deal hunting bow, carbon hunting bow. That Levitate has got 2 here nearly touching. I think one's an X and one's probably a 10. And the other one's an 8, and then this blue one down here will nix. So we'll get rid of it. But that group, you can get your hands around it, 50 yards from a carbon bow. That's crazy to me. All right, final one, 6 inches for the Levitate. Really good groups. Levitate consistent all the way through. Once I settled down and stopped brushing, man, the lift did phenomenal. I got some things to think about. All right, so the 50-yard shot grouping average, I think the lift takes the edge on that because, man, 2 inches, 4 inches, once you settled in, the first group, I don't know if I was just punching it or what, but once I got in the groove, it seemed to really group tight and consistent. The Levitate was consistent, but the groups were a little bit bigger. The close-up scoring, again, the lift had a horrible first round and shot a 27, and everything after that was 29s and 30s, and it never could make up those 2 points. The Levitate seems to be more consistent at the moment, but when the lift is right and you're right in your head and you're not hammering the hinge, the lift is jumping away and running away with it. One other thing I want to look at is what is the weight of these as they are rigged out right now. So if you hadn't been to a Total Archery Challenge, it's a lot of walking, hiking, whatever. Bows are heavy. So it's coming in at 7.3 pounds. I don't know if you can see that. This one's coming in at 6 pounds. So the Levitate's coming in about a pound less. All right, so here's the deal. Picking this bow, I'd love to be able to shoot out to 70, 80, 100 and do that group test. It's just crazy windy. I'd lose arrows, it'd break arrows, it'd be expensive. And I don't have anywhere here I can shoot that far without trees and stuff. So I can't go that far. So I've got to base a lot of this off of that group at 50 with no lens. I'm going to run a lens for tack this year, mainly because my buddies are, and I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because they're running lenses and I'm not. The scoring one, well, I think that's a great reference on how the bow shoots. That's 15 yards, and I don't know that it's giving me a lot of information that will help it tack. Like, they both shoot good, and in this test, the Levitate shot a little better. But what really I think makes more sense and what matters the most is how you shoot at distance. So for that matter, for that reason, I'm going with the Mathews lift this year for the Total Archery Challenge. So the lift's heavier, which I'm not excited about. But at the end of the day, this whole deal is about shooting long yardage accurately. And a heavier bow does help with that. So I'm gonna just bite the bullet, lug around the extra pound, and shoot the lift. I'm also doing the one in Colorado, so if this doesn't go well, or if it doesn't do as good as I think it should, I may take the Levitate to Colorado. But right now, man, the lift at distance, it just sits there. And as long as you'll not hammer the release when it sits there and you'll just slowly take your time, it's the most accurate bow that I've shot. And I haven't shot the Title. The Title's probably better, but as far as TRXs and hunting bows, this is the most accurate hunting bow I've ever shot. And the Levitate is an awesome bow. I'm gonna hunt with it still. It's gonna be my hunting bow. But for this year's Total Archery Challenge, I'm going with a lift.